The Ninetales are professional criminal operators with a high skill level, but what makes them different is kind of how they don't care about hiding their activities. They're a little bit flashier than you would expect. They're running gambling rings and stealing and doing protection rackets. The big mystery right now is everyone's trying to figure out what their motivations and goals are.
When the Ninetales go out and they do certain missions, it's very clear that they know exactly what they're doing, that they've trained, that they've actually done drills for the exact situation that they're going into. When the Ninetales debuted in Terra, it was a very big, splashy kind of attack on a prison transport where they captured a syndicate boss.
Killed a bunch of Terra police to do it.
Only to execute him 2 days later with a shot in the head, and everyone was very confused.
They're audacious, they're bold, they're violent, and they're good at what they do.
Over the past few years, the Ninetales has started to terrorize the Stanton system around Crusader,
using Grimhex as their sort of current base of operations.
If you've gone to Grimhex, you've seen their tags.
They want you to know who they are, so you know who you're messing with. They kind of advertise because it's a warning of like, hey, don't mess with me, because you'll bring down the wrath of the gang.
A lot of people who are playing the game, they're in with the Ninetales is through Rudo, who's a criminal fixer operating in Grimhex.
He has his own agenda too, but he does hire out for the Ninetales.
So when the Ninetales don't want to risk their own members or need a little extra help on a job, they contact Rudo, and Rudo puts them in touch with people in the know, and that way they don't have to work with them directly. They don't have to expose their organization. Rudo arranges everything, and he has his own level of protection. Talking through the holograms and all kind of that keeps a buffer between his clients and the operators he hires.
Outside of potentially picking up missions for the Ninetales from Rudo, you might have run into them if you helped clear out a blockade at a space station, a lockdown event, dynamic event that happened a few months ago, where the Ninetales gang basically moved in a giant kind of like dampener, a quantum dampener, to an area around a space station, which meant quantum traveling in and out of that area was restricted.
Since the Ninetales did their lockdown across the system of these rest stops, they may seem like they've been a little bit quiet.
Which has kind of made some happy around Crusader, because the gang has been a constant thorn in the side of the company for years. There was a really big fear that during the Fleet Week event at Orison, that the Ninetales might do something that could jeopardize the event in general. But their silence isn't treated as a good thing by everyone within the company. There's some deep fears that them kind of going quiet and kind of stepping back out activity for the past few weeks could be a symbol of something bigger to come. I would say that the officials at Orison are a bit on edge about what the Ninetales are up to right now.
The Ninetales are becoming perennial adversaries to the good, hardworking people of Stanton, and as many recent testers of PTU may already be aware, are currently building up their forces for a potential new assault in the coming weeks when Alpha 317.2 comes online, which we'll all be learning more about throughout the rest of this month. But what about those in lives outside of the dangers and controversies of combat? For space truckers and the like, the commodity kiosk is where small fortunes can be made, and it's one of the last remaining systems still unconverted to building blocks. Until now. Now let's take a look at a still very nascent work converting this system and ensuring a few quality of life fixes players have asked for get integrated along the way.
As part of the upcoming cargo refactor, this was the perfect time to go back and update the old commodity kiosk UI. The core philosophy for the rework is tell the player what's going on above all else, so that they can make their informed decisions and plan for the future. The commodity kiosk is the method that players use when they are trying to load cargo onto their ship so that they can trade between locations, etc. It is a kiosk that is often situated in either a trade and development district or in the admin office of a space station or outpost or something like that. We like that the current commodity kiosk is stable. Other than that, honestly, the layout of it does a lot to actually harm our gameplay. It does not show commodities on it when they are out of stock, or when they are full stock, or when the player doesn't have it in their ship. Essentially, a lot of times players will say, you have removed X from this shop, or X shop is not working, when in reality it's just that someone on another server has recently interacted with that shop, and as a result, it's looking like it basically has nothing in it. The biggest thing that we're going to be changing is that if an item is at full and you are trying to sell to the shop, it will still show as in the inventory. If an item is empty, as in someone has purchased all of it, we will just show it on there as being empty. You will be able to go to a shop and know exactly what it is going to normally buy and sell in order to plan your trade routes and such, even if currently the shop is not in a state where it can trade in that commodity. We're also going to be showing things that are in your ship, but the shop doesn't want, or can't want, or considers illegal, so that you can know that there's not a bug occurring, basically. So that you can see that, yes, I do in fact have quite a bit of iron in my hold, and it's not missing, something hasn't gone wrong, it's just that this shop doesn't trade in that particular commodity. We are also going to do a little bit of a visual tweak. We're going to create a few variations. There's going to be, if you're in Grimhex, kind of a hacked version that looks a little bit more cruddy. If you're in the trade and development district, or one of the more fancy areas to buy commodities, then we will have a bit more of a showroom floor, fancy Godiva chocolate looking thing. It's intended to kind of give a little bit more flavor, but also to emphasize to you that the feel of the commodities that you are trading in at that location. And this is just step one of our improvements in the trading gameplay loop. Stay tuned, traders and haulers. Help is coming.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned more about who and what the Ninetales are, how they operate, what their intentions might be for the stand system and the like, and that commodity kiosks are currently getting some much needed quality of life improvements for traders. And it's also a very good time to make your feedback known up on Spectrum. Now don't forget, this weekend is First Contact Day, as well as the newly anointed International Bar Citizen Weekend. Be sure you check out the robertspaceindustries.com website for details on the when and where of this weekend's events. And we'll be back here next week for this year's Alien Week festivities with a look at the current progress inside of the Banu Merchantman. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckaby. This is the 8th floor of the Manchester Goods Yard building, 2nd floor of our new UK offices overall, and where most of the Squadron 42 team is currently expected to be. I can't wait to just bug Nate Dearsley every single day. See y'all next week.